In almost every single criminal investigation happening today, there's a huge battle being fought. But it's not on the streets, it's on hard drives, it's in the cloud. We're talking about digital evidence. And right now, law enforcement is seriously struggling to keep up. Let's dig into why.
Just think about that for a second. We always picture crime scenes as these physical places, right? But today, the most important clues are almost always digital. And these digital crime scenes, our phones, our laptops, our cloud accounts, well, you don't measure them in square feet. You measure them in terabytes.
And that scale brings us to this absolutely staggering number, 18 months. In some places, that's how long the backlog is, just to analyze digital evidence. Just let that sink in. Justice can be delayed for a year and a half, not because there are no clues, but because we just don't have the power to process them in time.
So, how in the world did we get here? Well, it all starts with that digital crime scene. Investigators are facing what you can only describe as a tsunami of data. And the tools they've been using for years, it's like trying to bail out the ocean with a tiny bucket.
I mean, the sheer scale of this change is just mind-boggling. It wasn't that long ago that a big hard drive might hold a few hundred megabytes. Today, a standard laptop can easily hold a couple of terabytes. That is literally a million times increase in potential evidence. The problem is, the tools to analyze it all, they just haven't kept up, not even close.
And here's the real kicker. The core of the problem is that traditional digital forensics works in a straight line. It's what's called a serial process. An investigator gets a hard drive, they run one tool, they wait. Then they run the next tool, and they wait some more. When you're dealing with terabytes of data, this one-step-at-a-time method just creates an impossible bottleneck.
And that bottleneck, it leads directly to that terabyte backlog we talked about. The old way of doing things is, for all intents and purposes, broken. And let me show you a really concrete example of just how broken it is. This is just wild. In one study, a top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art forensic tool took more than 4 full days, that's over 96 hours, just to open an 80-gigabyte hard drive image. Okay, not to analyze it, not to find any evidence, just to open the file. Now imagine trying to use that same tool on a modern 2-terabyte drive. The math just completely falls apart.
So the problem is like an iceberg. On the surface, you see that investigations are slow, but underneath, you've got these fundamental limits. You're literally fighting the physical speed of reading and writing data, what tech folks call input/output, or I/O. Forensic tasks are incredibly I/O intensive, and the old tools just weren't built to automate or to scale. They're completely overwhelmed.
All right, so if the old way is broken, what if we just change the entire approach? Well, that brings us to a really powerful solution, a complete paradigm shift called Forensics as a Service, or FaaS for short. So what exactly is Forensics as a Service? It's a pretty brilliant idea. Instead of feeding one massive evidence file to a single computer, you upload it to the cloud. And there you can unleash the power of hundreds, maybe even thousands of computers to all work on it at the same time in parallel.
And this really shows the genius of it. The old way was all about taking this huge pile of data and bringing it to each tool one by one. The new way completely flips that on its head. You put the data in one central, super powerful place, the cloud, and you bring all the tools to the data, all at once. There's actually a real-world system called Hanskin that shows exactly how this works. It takes a piece of digital evidence, it breaks it up into little pieces, and it processes all those pieces across tons of different machines at the same time. The results then get streamed back to the investigators. And here's the game changer. The first clues can start showing up in minutes, not days. This lets investigators get to work immediately while the system keeps digging through everything else in the background.
Now, obviously, for a system like this to be trusted by courts and law enforcement, it can't be the Wild West. It has to be built on a rock-solid foundation of really strict rules and requirements.
The system's design has to be incredibly smart. It has to be modular, so you can just plug in new forensic tools as they're invented. It absolutely has to be scalable, so one massive case doesn't just crash the whole system. And by being platform independent and extensible, it's designed to evolve as technology does. See, this isn't just about making things faster today. It's about future-proofing the entire process of justice.
But even more important are the security and legal rules. I mean, confidentiality is a given, but integrity is the absolute bedrock of the whole thing. The system has to be able to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that the original evidence was never altered in any way.
If even one bit is out of place, a whole case could get thrown out of court. And that means only using compliant, validated tools that will stand up to legal scrutiny.
So what happens when you put all this together? You've got the immense power of the cloud combined with a system built on these super strict rules. What's the payoff? Well, you get justice at cloud speed.
This new way of thinking creates this amazing chain reaction. It all starts with that dramatically faster processing. And that, of course, directly cuts down the backlogs, freeing evidence from that digital limbo. That new speed then makes it possible for agencies to actually collaborate in real time. And because so much is automated and standardized, you get more consistent, more reliable results every single time.
And the impact goes way beyond just speed. This kind of system frees up the highly skilled forensic experts to do what they do best, actual analysis, instead of just sitting there watching a progress bar. It lowers costs for police departments, and it makes sharing information between different agencies so much easier, which is absolutely critical for today's complex cases.
So that really leaves us with one final big question. The amount of data that we're all creating is only going to keep growing, exponentially. Our digital lives are only going to get more complex. In a world like that, is shifting to a powerful, parallel, cloud-based approach like forensics as a service the only way for the justice system to even have a fighting chance? It's definitely something to think about.